They will not be taking any questions here during the press conference in this room, in this space. We ask that you please be mindful of that. They'll be immediately available outside to answer any questions at the conclusion of the press conference. My name is Michael Miller. I am the Public Information Officer for the Akron Police Department. I'd like to give you a quick run through of how the press conference will go. You'll be hearing from 3 speakers today: Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan, Deputy Mayor of Intergovernmental Affairs Margot Somerville, and Akron Police Chief Stephen Milet. After hearing from these speakers, you will see 2 videos. I'll say up front, at the start of the second video, for approximately 30 seconds, you'll hear no audio. And that's because the device itself, when you activate it, it goes back 30 seconds. It captures no sound, but it picks up the recording 30 seconds before the incident or the recording. The first video will be narrated video of the incident, starting with the pursuit. It will include some still shots. It will pause at points, and it will include some text, and we'll zoom in for clarity. The second video will be of an officer body cam footage, which will begin at the start of the pursuit, and it will end with the shooting. The video will be played from start to finish without pause, and will show the incident in real time. At the end of our press conference today, we will provide an opportunity for questions. Each outlet represented here today will have an opportunity to ask a question. There will also be a press kit available to members that will contain or include a map of the pursuit, a timeline of the incident, a transcript of the dispatch conversation during the pursuit, and basic information on the officers involved, including race, gender, years of service, and disciplinary record, if any. At the conclusion of the press conference, we'll be putting out a press release as well, and all body cam footage will be available. According to the city ordinance, we're required to release 3 body cam footages within the first 7 days, but we're going above and beyond that today due to the unique circumstances, and we'll be releasing all of the body cam footage in a short period of time after the press conference. This includes the 8 officers who were directly involved in the shooting, and additionally 5 other officers who were on scene but did not participate in the shooting. At this time, I would like to welcome Akron Mayor Dan Horrigan to the podium.
Thank you, Lieutenant. First of all, good afternoon. Thank you for being here. I know this is a somber occasion for all of us and for the entire city. Before I begin, let me again extend my condolences to the family and friends of Jalen Walker. I know that no amount of grief or prayer will bring Jalen back, but please know that the city mourns with you. Personally, there are no amount of superlatives, and I've talked about being beyond outraged, beyond shocked, and extremely heartbroken that I can use to describe my feelings. I won't mince words. The video you're about to watch is heartbreaking, and it's very tough to take in. And I know many of you will have questions after this press conference, and I have a number of questions myself that need to be answered. But what I'd like to stress to the community, please, is that the independent, which is being the investigation, which is being conducted independently by an entity requested by Chief Milet, which is the Bureau of Criminal Investigation, and the Attorney General's office, will take some time to work through. Our media information packet includes a rough timeline of how the investigation process will proceed, in addition to a timeline of events of this past Monday. And I am urging all of our residents, please reserve your full judgment until the investigation is complete. And listen, you'll have to do one of the most difficult things that I can ever ask somebody to do, and that is to please be patient and let the Attorney General do their work. Let me also emphasize the steps we've taken over a number of years to increase the transparency and the accountability with the Akron community, knowing that trust cannot exist without our commitment to openness. Almost exactly 1 year ago today, the Akron City Council voted to enact a new law that ensures the release of video footage which documents an Akron police officer's use of force within 7 days of the incident. This ordinance was first recommended by the city's Charter Review Commission and was overwhelmingly approved by the residents of Akron. And it is clear what our community wants is to be able to review the information for themselves, and it is our commitment to be open and as transparent as we can be, given the fact that there is an independent investigation which we cannot put into jeopardy. Additionally, utilizing an independent entity to conduct the initial investigation into the incident will be a further step in increasing the trust and accountability with our citizens. Chief Milet and I both believe that this is the best practice going forward, and which many communities across the country are now doing. And it is the direction that we intend to move towards in any future events of deadly force. Both the city and the Akron Police Department are fully committed to this process, and I have every confidence that the investigation will be conducted in a fair, thorough, and just manner. Many will wish to air their grievances in public, and I fully support our residents' right to peacefully assemble, but I hope the community can agree that violence and destruction are not the answer. And let me echo the calls from a number of elected officials and community members right here in Akron that calls for peace in our city. This will be the constant urge over the next few days, is peace in our city. Marco, thank you.
Good afternoon, and first and foremost, I would like to give my condolences to the loved ones of Jalen Walker. I know this young man was well loved and respected, and the weight of his loss is being felt across our city. Some years ago, when I decided to get involved in public service, public life, I had served as president of the Akron branch NAACP, and I decided I would run for office. One of my concerns was the Akron Police Department, some issues that they've had. One of the problems was like taking complaints and how they were handled. So as my time from leaving the NAACP presidency and then moving to the city of Akron, eventually becoming the council president, and now I'm senior advisor to the mayor, I have worked on a number of issues to try to strengthen the relationship between the police and the community. One was, first of all, hiring an outside independent police auditor, which we have in place, Mr. Phil Young. The auditor is supposed to look at trends in the police department. He looks at where we need to do training. He looks at if arrests were not handled the right way. We handle those all internally. And that has been a great start for us in this community. The other thing that has helped us also in this community, we do have body cameras from the officers. And the fact that we have that, that's why we're here today, we'll be able to look at the footage. The main thing we also should always look at too is the fact that we have this new ordinance that it had to be released in 7 days. The mayor could have did an executive order, but we did not do that. We took it to the Charter Review Commission. Council President is here, Marco Somerville, Professor Bill Rich from University of Akron Law School, who chaired that committee, came with the idea, along with the mayor, to put it in the charter. So now, when there is a police shooting, the police department or the chief can't say, I'm not releasing it. The mayor says, can't say, I'm not releasing it. It has to be released. And then the voters voted on it. Over 90% of the voters voted on that. And that is a huge thing that I don't think you find any other place in the country who's done that. As my many years of public service, I have never understood why police would handle their own investigation. And when it comes to police-involved shootings, that has never sit right with me in this community. And now, since we have a new chief and the mayor, they've gotten together and they have asked for outside help in investigating this case. This is huge. This is definitely not business as usual. This move for this investigation to have an outside entity ensures that it'll be the fairest, most unbiased review of the facts, and that's the right decision at the right time. We also have with us today some of our residents who are here, some of the members of the faith-based community, some citizens who've been involved in the community here for this press conference, and we appreciate them being here too. Having this footage released today is a good step in the right direction. Make no mistake, what you will see in this footage is extremely upsetting. From here, we need to look at our process to get us to the next steps. An independent investigation at the state level will further that process. I know there's anger that when people see this video, it will cause them to become sickened as I was. I have a son, could have been my son. And quite frankly, our community has a right to voice their concerns and to protest, and we would ask them to do that. But what we would ask them to do, as the family has asked them to do, it's okay to protest, but we would also ask them to do it in a peaceful manner. We have asked for this type of transparency. Now we're getting into the investigation that we want. We have to be patient and then allow the investigation to run its course. And remember, we're all in this together.
Good afternoon, everybody. I want to first echo the sentiments that were expressed by Mayor Horgan and Deputy Mayor Somerville. I also want to express my deepest sympathies to Jalen's family. I cannot imagine the sense of loss, the pain that they're going through right now. As Marco mentioned, you know, in his personal life, my youngest is 25 years of age as well. And I cannot imagine what life would be like without my son. So again, Mrs. Walker, Jada, I'm very sorry for your loss. But I want to personally thank you. I want to personally thank you for the way in which you have been dealing with this situation. You have asked for peace in an environment that is ripe for aggression and violence. You have asked for trust and let this process move forward. If Jalen reflects the character of this family, which I continually heard that he did, you raised a good son. And again, my deepest condolences and sympathies. On Monday morning, officers of the Akron Police Department were involved in an officer-involved shooting. In a few moments, you will be seeing two videos that will address what led up to the shooting. When I was sworn in as chief of police 10 months ago, I began moving the police department in a direction to have outside independent investigations when officers are involved in a shooting. So on Monday morning, I formally requested the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations to investigate this shooting. Some of the benefits of having an independent investigation include increased perceptions of credibility of the findings, increased transparency. The public tends to trust the results and fairness of the investigation. And quite frankly, this has become best practice in my profession. Joining us today is Mr. Joe Morbitzer, who is the superintendent of the Ohio Bureau of Criminal Investigations. Mr. Morbitzer, I want to thank you for being here today. And I also want to thank you for your willingness to take this investigation on. At the conclusion of viewing the two videos, I will share a few comments and open up the press conference for questions. Please keep in mind that as you ask your questions, Mayor Horgan and I may not be able to answer your question. First and foremost, we may not have the information. Secondly, we don't want to do anything that directly impacts the credibility and independency of this investigation. So we are going to both be mindful of how we respond. Since I just arrived here in Ohio 10 months ago, there may be questions that you ask that I will defer to our city's chief prosecutor, Mr. Craig Morgan, or Deputy Police Chief Brian Harding. At this time, we're going to play the first video, which Lieutenant Miller described to you. We hope this video will provide further context and details to the incident. Lieutenant Miller.
On Monday, June 27th, 2022, at 12:30 in the morning, Akron police officers attempted to stop a silver Buick on East Talmadge Avenue near Thayer Street. Officers informed dispatch that the reason for the stop was for a traffic violation as well as an equipment violation. The driver of the vehicle refused to stop, and officers initiated a vehicle pursuit as the vehicle was nearing the East Talmadge Avenue entrance ramp to Route 8 southbound. Approximately 40 seconds after the driver of the vehicle fled from the attempted stop, a sound consistent with a gunshot can be heard on the body-worn cameras of the officers. Officers notified dispatch that a shot came out of the suspect's car door.
Getting on the 8 south of Talmadge, reason for stop is traffic. Violation. 21 shots fired. That vehicle just had a shot come out against the door.
At the time of the sound, a flash of light can be seen along the driver's side of the suspect vehicle. The vehicle pursuit continued on the expressway for several minutes, and the suspect vehicle exited onto the Archwood Avenue ramp. The pursuit proceeded through several city streets until he neared the intersection of East Wilbert Road and Claremont Street. At that point, the driver slowed down and exited through the passenger side door of the moving vehicle wearing a ski mask. The suspect fled from the vehicle on foot, turning and facing officers momentarily. He continued to run, evading arrest. Officers attempted to safely take the suspect into custody by deploying their tasers. The deployment of tasers was unsuccessful, and the suspect continued to flee on foot. As the foot chase reached the nearby parking lot, the suspect stopped and quickly turned towards the pursuing officers. Officers reacted by discharging their firearms, striking the suspect. Under visual inspection of the suspect's vehicle, a handgun, a loaded magazine for a handgun, and what appears to be a gold wedding ring were observed in plain view on the driver's seat.
We will now show you the body-worn camera footage from the officer who was first involved in the pursuit. The video will start at the beginning of the pursuit and will end with the shooting of Mr. Jalen Walker. I want to offer caution for everyone that is watching that this video may be disturbing to some viewers, to many viewers, as it contains graphic images and language. For many reasons, it is difficult to watch. At the request of the Walker family, we have blurred Mr. Walker's body in the shooting event. Lieutenant?
East on Talmadge, approaching Ryan South, signal will go 8 South. Speeds are 30. Getting on the 8 South from Talmadge. Reason for stop is traffic. College. 21 shots fired. That vehicle just had a shot come out of its door. We're southbound on Route 8 now. Next crossing the Perkins, crossing the bridge on Route 8 South. Speeds of 80, middle lane. Old Buick, black driver. Silver Buick, one occupant. Look like black male driver. He's in the left lane, going 60. Okay. No speed driver, grabbing something and a shot came out through his door. He should have a shot out, just passing Perkins. 8 South passing Perkins, middle lane, speeds of 72, light traffic. 8 South passing exit 1A, speed 77, no traffic is required. We're 8 South, towards 77 South, passing exit 0, just past University. It's middle lane, speeds of 70, now it's in the right lane, speeds of 70, white traffic, vehicles are getting over. Continuing 8 South, speeds of 78, white traffic. Vehicles about 100 yards in front of us. Continuing 77 South, just past the interchange. Number 4, country, do you want to have 3 minutes of traffic? The units up there that are coming up on Lover's Lane, he's coming up on your left side just now. Take caution, he was driving for a gun, he did fire a shot out the side of the door. Alright, 24, we got 2 units in front of us. Our 24 primary line now, we're getting off here. We're getting off the archway bit. Speed of 85 miles per hour. First, the red light is archway. You can go into the red light, continuing southbound, approaching Mark Firestone. Speed of 35 miles per hour. Running the south side is going to be going westbound on North Firestone Boulevard from here. You're going to go southbound on that speed car, 30 miles per hour. There's no traffic on this road. Running the south side of Reed, if you go westbound on Reed from here. Southbound on Rosewood, speeds are 15 miles per hour, approaching St. Louis. Then you go westbound on Cypress, heading towards Redwood. Okay, in Redwood, we're approaching Brown Street.
Still westbound on a little bit. We have these winning out. Speeds are 55 miles per hour. 602 on west on Bowman Square, stop and bring it in. We're still westbound a little bit. We're passing Evergreen, heading for Maine. Looks like we have some units up ahead at the intersection of Maine. He's slowing down here, slowing down.
All right, guys, I am going to stop it right there. I literally have chills all over my arms. That was
Wow.
intense. Just just hearing that. Wow, that was intense. So I'm gonna pause it really quick. Thank you guys for staying here with us. I appreciate you guys. If you guys can share the room if you guys have it, so we can get more people in here to have this discussion. I really appreciate it. That video that we just heard, the audio that we just heard, was basically from Jalen Walker's situation. He was basically brutally murdered. It was an overkill, and it's disturbing to just hear the audio. I can't imagine watching the video. I haven't watched it. I don't like that type of stuff. So I am gonna leave open up the floor. Drew is here. Drew is gonna be speaking about his situation with his own family member who was also a victim of this police brutality that we are speaking of right now. So Drew, if you can go ahead and take over the floor, I appreciate it.
Thank you, Gigi. My name is Drew Shotta, y'all. I experienced the same situation. You know what I'm saying? I wouldn't say the 60 shots, but at the same time, my brother's not here to speak for itself. So my story is I came home from the Marines for my first tour of duty, I think it was March 11th, 2012. I got to spend literally, I want to say a week and a half, 2 weeks with my brother, on a night that normally what we would do, we'll go rent out Pierre's Club in Fort Wayne, Indiana. That's what we was meant to do. And I just felt like my body was telling me, sit the fuck home. You know what I'm saying? Like I was drinking too much. I partying. Like I said, I was just in Afghanistan for a year and a half. You know what I'm saying? It's my first time home on leave. So I'm drinking, I'm partying and shit like that. And my mother said, I heard her say, you need to just relax. And I said, how can I relax when in a month I'm gonna go back to war? I need to get this partying shit out of me. You know what I'm saying? And my brother come over and he say, bro, what you finna do? I took my mother's advice and I said, I'm finna stay home. And bro, make this drop with me real quick. Again, my brother was big in the streets. He ran the majority of Fort Wayne, Indiana. I made that run with him. It hurt me because my brother looked at me when I got out that car and he told me he loved me. I ain't never heard my brother tell me he loved me, no matter what the fuck I've been through in life. You know what I'm saying? So to hear this man tell me he loved me, I feel like something's gonna happen. You know what I'm saying? And he said, what you finna do? I said, bro, I'm finna put the money in the safe. I'm finna go to the bar, grab what I was finna grab for my mother to eat. I'm finna hit Kroger's, grab me a 12-pack of Coronas and some Hennessy, and I'm finna load my debit card and play Poker Stars all night. Well, he told me, bro, I see you tomorrow. I love you. And all night that fucked me. Why? Because if you know someone you deal with every fucking day, and you don't hear that brotherly love that you hear that's coming out at that particular time, I felt like I was in La La Land. Like I pondered on that the whole fucking night. I heard him say repeatedly, I love you, bro. I love you, bro. I love you, bro. Like over and over in my mind. Now what fucked up is that
I don't know who stopped me. I can say my mother. I can say my granny. I can say niggas in the hood. I don't know who stopped me, bro. I just know that we all got a blueprint in life. We either can go left, or we can go right, or we can go straight. I chose to go straight this day. It cost me my brother's life. At 3:15 in the morning, I heard 17 police cars shoot past my house on 827 High Street. And I called my brother's phone, and he don't answer. I'm freaking out a little bit, but I'm not, because I know the club gets out at 3. He should be with every woman he walked in the club with or walked out with. 6 o'clock in the morning come. It's daylight by this time. I'm about to log off PokerStars.com. 6:17 in the morning, I get a phone call that I don't wish on anybody. I don't wish that on my worst enemy, because I know the feeling I got. I know how I felt. I wanted to kill my whole city. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't know that the police did what they did to my brother. In my mind, I'm a Marine. I got all these guns. I'm finna shoot the whole town up until I find out what happened. 6:17, my house phone rang. 2012. Picked the phone up. This girl named Marty, I know her brother Ben. She is ecstatic. She's crying. I'm like, who is this? She say, it's Marty, Drew. They killed him, they killed him, they killed him. I told him not to hang with them. Now, at that point in time, her key word, what I told him not to hang with them. So process how I feel. I'm thinking in my mind that I'm finna kill some nigga because he tried to rob my brother. I don't care at this point in time. Fuck the Marines. Fuck this protect and serve shit. Y'all didn't protect my brother. She say, Drew, they killed Mike, they killed Mike, they killed Mike. Now, these are my exact words, and I don't want to offend nobody. The lady, this is exactly what I said. Bitch, who the fuck is Mike? I don't know no fucking Mike. She paused. When she say, Drew, they killed Goldmouth, I threw that phone through my goddamn window. Like, this my brother. No matter he 34 years old and I'm older than him, at that time he was 32, I think, 33. It's my blood. No matter half brother or not, that's my blood. That's my brother. That's the one that my mother is ecstatic because that's not her stepson, that's her son. Even though my mother didn't have him, that's my mother's son. The bond that my mother and them had, like, my brother's from Natchez, Mississippi. He's a New Orleans Saints fan. My brother's from Indiana. He's an Indianapolis Colts fan. That's the bond that I brought to them. And for that to be torn apart, as I'm walking out that door and I'm watching my mama walk to this car, and she tell me, I'm only gonna take you unless, the only reason I'm take you if I can drive your brother's car. So the whole time in my brother's car, I'm crying on the way to my home. If you check my picture, the house I'm going to is the big dude on the right, Day-Day. That's my homeboy. That's my brother right-hand man besides me. When I pull up, I get out the car. And this is where my mother becomes the gangster, because my mother got out the car and handed me that book bag full of guns. My mother knew what I was planning on doing, because at the end of the day, this is my brother. This is my blood. I don't care if the cops killed him. I'm going to find out who. When I seen my godson, my nephew, Cameron, sitting outside, he, at that point in time, is 5 years old, 4 years old. He don't know his daddy just got killed. I'm looking at the next generation of my last name. He can't never see his father again. So just think how my mind is spinning when this bitch-ass nigga is in this house. Again, y'all, I do not know the police at this time had shot my brother. I'm trying to find out. So when I go in this house, my brother, best friend, bear hugged me like a motherfucker because he know me. I'm carrying. He say, Drew, give me your gun. I said, no, bro. I'm not giving you my gun. I asked you on the phone, did this nigga have gravel or motherfucking grass stains on his pants? He said, why? I see that means that he did not help or fight for my brother while my brother was doing what he was doing. So I give him the gun. He gives me the gun back like a dumbass. I walk in my brother's room. I put the clip in my gun that was from my brother's gun. I walk in there, I put it to his head because I don't care about life at this point in time. Like you took something that means dearly to me. I don't care about harming you or your family, allegedly. You know what I'm saying? I don't want nobody to get clipped or nothing, but he said, Drew, stop, please. Let me explain. I said, please do. So he explains that when they walk into this hole in the wall where my brother should not have been, you should have got in my brother's Land Rover and took his ass to Pierre's, where we spent 10 fucking bands for every VIP in that fucking club. Why you got him in a hole in the wall when you know you are the driver? Oh, because he said to pull over at this spot. Cool, whatever. So he goes in this bar. What I found out is my brother was fucking the bartender behind that little hole in the wall bar. Well, the bartender's boyfriend or ex-boyfriend was in the bar. He bumps my brother once. My brother, I guess from what dude says, he waves him off. Cool, he gets a drink. Next thing you know, he bumps my brother again. My brother say, bro, you touch me again, I'm gonna knock your fucking mouth out, dog. He goes outside, smokes a cigarette. He comes back in the bar. As he's walking back outside, that white guy bumps him again. As he bumps him, my brother pushed him full force, knocks him on the ground, gets on top of him. He starts beating the shit out of him. From what dude says, my brother lifts his head up and looks left. That's where the Indiana State Trooper comes. Now, again, we'll get into that of why that person was on that block, which he shouldn't have, and I'll talk about the camera and the video. But he gets up, looks at him, he started walking across the street. So where the bar is, there's a house that has an apartments that are 4 apartments in that building. There's a fence behind that apartment back door. He tries to jump the fence. When he tries to jump the fence, the Indiana State Trooper tackles him, and at that particular time, there's gravel, broken glass, and concrete. Just imagine, everybody, you could be the strongest motherfucker in the world, but if you hit that concrete with your elbows, that shit hurt, bro. You're gonna wipe that shit off like you hit your funny bone. As my brother's getting up, this Indiana State Trooper feels some type of way, and he reaches for his firearm. He puts the 40 in my brother's chest, 6 inches apart from my brother's chest, and opens fire 6 times point blank range. Why? My brother had a tank top on. You could see if he was holding a motherfucking gun. My brother reached to pull his pants up because as he was jumping that fence, he pulled his pants down. And I wish my brother would have never did that because he would still be here to the day. But at the same time, why are you firing? Are you firing because you're scared? Are you firing because you didn't get trained right? Are you firing because your mind frame that you're thinking right now is he's gonna reach for something and you have a bulletproof vest on and he don't? 6 times, point blank range, in the chest. That's overkill. My homeboy Day Day, that's in my picture. My brother's last words were, tell Drew to take care of my son. Like, I've been taking care of his son since he's been gone. My godson will be going to the University of Arizona to play football in 2024 because of me and my brother. This little dude has watched us play football day in and day out. He could do anything he want to do. He's very smart. He wants to be just like us. And I don't mean gang banging and selling dope. I mean playing ball. So that hurts me to this day to sit and think of My last brother's words was to tell me to make sure my nephew Cameron was well taken care of. But that don't justify the 6 hollow points you just put in my brother's chest. Now, let's get to the court. So every time we went to court, there was no cameras, they so-called safe. I went to that bar myself and took pictures and showed the court that there's fucking cameras, and they got this goddamn camera shit on fucking hard drive. You want to sit there and call my brother a menace to society and say he abused his baby mama and went to prison for this and that. That don't justify for you to kill my motherfucking brother. I'm a 17-year Marine vet. I stood and I signed a piece of paper to where I can protect and serve my country, foreign or domestic. And that's what I did with 3 tours of duty. And I'm breathing right now, and I don't know why. Because everything I went through in my life, this is the same thing that I think about every fucking day. It's this situation. No matter if I wake up happy, I wake up mad, I always ask why. So they said, it was justified. He reached for something. I said, well, can we see the body cam? It was crazy. His body cam was off. As I heard what was going on, when all them shots rang off, I start crying in because I start thinking to myself, like, fuck, like, why the fuck was this man body cam off? What was you hiding, bro? What was in your mind when you seen a black man on top of a white man and you hit that corner and you being a white man, what you do? What was your thought? So I'm the one that came into court with the owner of that bar, and they showed the film. Everything that nigga that was in my brother best friend house told me was right. Everything lined up the right way. And what's sad is this redneck ass judge is gonna tell me that the evidence that you brought, you cannot use. I'm like, wow, bro, like, you mean to tell me you got the body cam off, but I got the owner of this fucking club coming in the court with these fucking videos? Oh, I got kicked out of court 7 fucking times because of this bitch ass racist motherfucking judge. I leave. It's 3 weeks after my brothers got murdered. I did something that I wasn't supposed to do. And my grandmother called me. And I'm like, wow, this lady don't never call my cell phone. She says, Andrew, you can't do this. And I said, do what, Granny? You can't do this. I know you hurting. I know you feel a certain way, like, but you can't do this. I bite my goddamn lip so hard, I picked the phone up, called the little homies where they at. I say, where you at? They say Kendallville. They 5 minutes away from that police house. Yeah, I was gonna make a motherfucking mockery of my life. I was gonna end my fucking life. I was gonna put my life in the penitentiary for the rest of my life because of someone I love. If it wasn't for that lady named Linda Shivington, my grandma, I would be in the penitentiary right now. Because I was gonna hit them. That's how much I gave a fuck about my brother. That's how much I cared about my brother. That's what that man meant to me. So when all said and done, my little nephew got 1.7 million, but that don't bring his daddy back. That don't help him. He don't get to see his father smile. He don't get to see his father watch him play football. He don't get to see his father come to prom. He don't get to see his father do certain things in life that a father should see his son do. I got to do that. So let's fast forward. 2015, my mother passed away. I'm sitting there lost. My little brother say, Drew, you need to move to Arizona, bro. Because if you don't move, you either gonna die or you're gonna go back to prison, bro. I'm sitting there thinking, I'm thinking, and I'm like, I don't want to leave. This is all I know. I watched my soul jump out my body and run up the street. And I put my right hand to God, and I'm not lying to that. Like, that freaked me out. And I called my older brother, Marcus Davis, MD, and I said, bro, I need you to come talk to me. Like, some freaky shit just happened. Like, I don't know how to, put it together. And he came, and I've only seen my brother cry twice. My brother cried for my cousin, Keytron Davis, and my cousin, Larry D. Lovelace. Those are the only two people in this world I seen my older brother cry for. He started crying and told me, he said, what you just told me, little bro. 3 of those niggas dead, 2 of those niggas in prison facing life. If I gotta put you on this car and duct tape your dumb ass and take you to the airport, you getting away. That's the best choice I made in my life, man. But what the crazy story is when I get to Mesa, Arizona, I get a FaceTime call on Instant Messenger, and it's the cop that killed my brother. This dude tells me he's sorry for everything he put my family through, what he put me through. At that time, I don't have no anger in my body at this time. Like, I don't have a bone in my body that can put any hate out because I'm over it. And what this man told me, and I wish all you suck-ass police that got a mind frame of shooting a motherfucker just to get a star, take your ass to Ukraine right now. Take your ass to Afghanistan or Iraq, because we still fighting over there. You want to shoot an innocent bystander, go shoot one of them. But this man told me what he did, he's so sorry. And when he seen my little nephew in that courtroom, he didn't want to be a cop no more. So this guy, even though he killed my brother, he's a teacher now, teaching the youth the positive way. And all I can do right now is salute that guy. What is all that loud ass shit? So all I can do is respect that man for understanding his mistake. Him being a man and calling me took every hate out my body. Yeah, I still hurt. I still cry. I still wonder what would happen if he would be here right now. But at the end of the day, all I can do is just live my life, smile, and hope to God that this shit don't ever happen to nobody else. And as we know, as what we just heard, this is an ongoing thing. So what I'm gonna say is we need to stop the Black Lives Matter shit and say all lives matter. No matter if you're light-skinned, Black, Indian, Mexican, Puerto Rican, Native American, you from London, England, wherever the fuck you at. Stop that color issue shit, man. Because I hurt and bleed the same thing as you. And all I want is understanding and love for this life that I so-called have left. You know what I'm saying? But it hurts me to see an innocent teenager get shot 60 times for something that he didn't have nothing to do with, no reason to get shot 60 times. So, like, why do you shoot an innocent kid 60 times? I don't get it. But you got a badge. Protect and serve, no matter if it's foreign or domestic, right? I just feel like a lot of these police officers think just because they got a gun and a badge, they above the law. And what we need to do is tell these police chiefs and these police captains what's really going on in the neighborhood that we see every day. Because it's going on in New York, California, Arizona, Virginia, North Carolina, everywhere. But if you don't state how you feel about the situation, your voice never gonna be heard. I open the room up for conversation and questions right now. Go ahead. Thanks, GG. Thanks, 100 ENT, for having the time for me to speak and open up and say what's on my mind. I appreciate y'all.
Salute. Thank you so much. I do want to just jump in really quick and say my condolences to you, Drew. I know that losing someone, and especially in that situation, is definitely difficult. So my condolences to you and your family. I know it's a daily struggle, but salute to you for getting his son where he needs to be. and making a man out of him, putting him in the right path. That's definitely an amazing thing you did. I know that this was very long-winded, so I definitely appreciate everybody on the stage that's still with us. The floor is open for conversation, so you guys can go ahead and discuss whether it was Drew's story or just the whole situation with Jalen Walker as well. So the floor is open. Thank you guys, and please share up and ping up.
Hey, and GG, I got you a motherfucking birthday cash out. That's 12:01 tonight when that shit hit my account. Oh boy.
But I appreciate you.
But if y'all got some questions and you want to talk about the situation, like she said, the floor is open. Let's go. Let's talk about it. I'll wait.
All right, this is Indigo. I didn't want to step in too early because, I was going to say, make sure y'all share the room for news. We should have at least 200 shares in here. It's 200 people. Everybody share it one more time. My one point I do want to say is I feel like that as far as police chiefs, I feel it would be super important if we had more people of color as chiefs. And also, I do think that severity of punishment when things like this go down should happen more, because at the end of the day, a lot of times there's a money payout and officers are not put in jail or maybe even sentenced to the death penalty. And I think if those penalties are up, even if there is continuing to be racist police officers on the force, I feel like they'll be more wanting to think before they do certain things if they know that their life or their freedom is at stake. But of course, a lot of them get slaps on the hands, or they don't get nothing because the state pays the families off. So police are now not scared to do the bad things they do because they're like, well, all families do is get paid off and we just get laid off while we go through a court case. And I land my plane.
Hey, Drew, first off, I want to extend my condolences to you, brother.
Appreciate it, brother.
I'm glad you was able to speak, man. I feel like it was heartfelt. It touched me. I lost both of my brothers. You know what I'm saying? But beyond that, to piggyback off of some of the statements Indigo made, yes, definitely the penalties for killing unarmed civilians are not nowhere near high enough, especially when you've been sworn to protect people. I think historically, though, and this is my opinion from what I've observed over the years, I think it was always meant to, the way things were set up, they were always able to kill us, without any penalty. Now, since, George Floyd, we starting to see people being charged with murder, but I think it's got to be something different done. I don't know if it's a civilian oversight of police actions. Maybe even if you turn your camera off, that should be an automatic charge. Like, that should be mandatory that you are being monitored. You're an officer of the law, so there shouldn't be any time where you can operate outside of the view of the public. You work for.
So what's crazy about that, King, is that I've already talked to a couple police chiefs that used to be in Fort Wayne, Indiana, about a body cam that turns on by itself. Every time you exit that fucking car, that body cam should turn on by itself. You should not be the one to have to sit there and hit that button. Every time you get out that fucking car, because I had one when I was in Afghanistan. I ain't had to hit a fucking button every time I wanted to fucking video shit, bro. Every time I stepped out that Humvee, that bitch start recording. So they can't sit there and tell me that there's not a device when you step out that fucking car. Once you put your foot outside that patrol car, that camera should turn on by itself. But they always say when situations happen, the camera's never on, bro. So it's like the police hiding something from the jump, fam. Like, it don't matter if the fucking cam turns on by itself or at a particular time won't be there, bro, because they gonna erase that shit. And we have no way to ever get that evidence back because it's not stored on a hard drive. It's only stored on a hard drive for 15 fucking days. After them 15 days, it deletes itself, bro. Why is that? Talk about it.
Well, what I want to know is what's a credible? I'll be quick. What's a credible reason? What's a credible reason to allow them to have the discretion to turn it on and off?
I think it's like they have the right to hide whatever the fuck they want, bro. I mean, if you want the community to see how you conduct yourself when you pull somebody over, every time you get out, that camera should be on. The people that's monitoring that car, that has a monitoring device on that car of your location, of everywhere you go, you have a device to where when you step out that car, that camera turns on itself. Why are you allowing these officers to be able to turn on and off this fucking device? If this device was on 24/7, we wouldn't have no problem. You wouldn't even see the half the shit that these police officers do, bro. Because they're scared now, because they're being monitored. If you give them the audacity to be able to turn off their body cam when they want, that means they can hide anything they fucking want, bro. It's common sense, bro. Whatever I say going in the trash can, and everything they say is going to the goddamn grand jury, and they're gonna be, okay, you pass, you win, he loses. And it's like, wow, but this nigga just killed 3 people. You know what I'm saying? Like, what the fuck? So I just feel if they take some of the shit we got as Marines and the devices that we got as Marines, bro, it'd be cool, bro. And that's real shit, man. But they don't want to bring that equipment because it costs too much. But they pay so much goddamn money on other shit, though. You feel me?
It also depends on the police department because some of them do have it. If they're running the Taser Exxon, it automatically activates when they draw their gun or when they step out their vehicle.
Yeah, they don't have that in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They don't have that in Arizona. They don't have that in New York, and they don't have that in Tennessee. And there's about 4 other states that they don't have that device in. Why are
They do have them in Tennessee.
Oh, they do? Well, I'm just saying, why don't they allow that in every other state and only in certain states? Why? Because of, certain cops don't come to work pissed off, want to shoot somebody, or what? Like, how does that go?
Those are governor guidelines. Just like for Akron, Ohio, the cameras just became accessible for those officers within the past year. And also their sergeant is an African American. They have claimed they've made changes. That was some of the notations that they specified during the reports. So, I mean, and this is Nisi Pie. Drew, I appreciate you sharing. I just wanted to make note of some of the information that we had on here. If I could, one of the first things that came to my mind after seeing this story, and also I did see the footage of the shooting. They're trying to say at this moment, because they haven't completed the autopsies, that there are 60 wounds. So they don't know if it's exit wounds or if they're shooting. But I did see it. It was excessive. They claimed that because there was a gun in the car, they showed the footage of the high-speed chase, but it was absolute overkill. I have watched several of these cases, and it is unfortunate. It's disgusting. And I'm thankful that we have this topic because it's our Black sons, husbands, and fathers that are being gunned down like this. I land my plane.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Hey, Drew, I just wanted to give you my condolences, and I have two quick questions for you.
Yes,
as
ma'am.
far as your nephew, how did you explain what happened, and could you share what tips you've instilled in him so that we know how to, talk to our kids?
So it's like I had to, at that point in time, I ain't had no kids. Now I got a 7-year-old daughter and a 5-year-old daughter. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, I ain't had no kids, but this little dude would be at my house every weekend. You know what I'm saying? Like this, I'm the one that he say, Uncle Drew, let's go play football, just me and him. You know what I'm saying? Like, so it's like when he got to 9, he asked me a question. He said, Uncle Drew, where's my dad? And it broke me. It hurt me because I had to call his mama because I had to ask her, was it okay for me to explain? And she said, yeah, Drew, he kind of know, but not really. But you can tell him. So I told him, I said, remember when I came to your house that day and I sent you to the corner store to play video games? Because when I got out that car, I was gonna kill that dude in that house. I'm sorry, excuse my French, y'all. I'm allegedly, I'm just being real. Like, you supposed to protect my brother. And I'm not in that life no more because I'm a Marine. I don't sell dope no more. I don't gang bang no more. So at the same time, you supposed to protect my brother. I feel like you at fault. So when I told him, I said, you remember when I sent you to the corner? He said, yeah, Uncle Drew. I said, I want to tell you something. That day was the day you lost your father. I said, don't you worry. Every time you look to that sky, every time you hit a home run, every time you do the 100-yard dash and the hurdles, every time you catch a touchdown, every time you sack the quarterback, you're going to look up to that sky. You're going to point to that sky. You're going to say you love your father because that's where your daddy at. I said, that man loves you no matter no way. If anybody could say something about your dad, he gave more fucks about you than he gave his own life. Like, when my little nephew was born, like, that made my brother the happiest dude ever. Because the doctor told him he couldn't have kids. And he had my little nephew. Like, that was the joy of my life. Because at the end of the day, like, I didn't have kids at that time. Like, and that changed my mind frame from how I was a heartless nigga that didn't give a fuck about nothing. That made me give a fuck about life. You know what I'm saying? And I know money don't buy happiness, but this little dude can do whatever the fuck he want right now. You know what I'm saying? He don't gotta go to college, but he going to college. He don't have to play football. He playing football because me and his dad. So I'm grateful that he understood certain things when I told him when he was 9. He calls me every day. He FaceTimes me every day, telling me he can't wait to move to Arizona. He chose Arizona University because I live here. He chose the U of A in Tucson, Arizona, when he could have gone to any college. Oh, by the way, he just a freshman, y'all. He just a freshman. So my little nephew was very, very talented. He could have went to Oregon. He could have went to USC. He could have went to UCLA. He want to be here with me, his uncle. So I'm happy for that. In 4 years, he'll be here. He's 14 right now. 13, my bad. And this little dude is bigger than me. This dude is 6'6", 327 pounds. Do I repeat that? This dude is going to be the biggest offensive lineman to ever go to the University of Arizona. And I'm grateful that I instilled and my brother instilled the mind frame of work ethic. And don't never let no one tell you you can't do anything in life, because every one of us can do anything we fucking want. Next question.
Salute to you, bro.
Definitely appreciate that.
Hey guys, so my brother Abaya is in the bottom. He's in the crowd. He's a former police officer. He also has like a large YouTube platform where he actually gives tips about how to handle interactions with police officers. I don't know if you guys wanted to bring him up.
Does he follow the house?
I'm not sure. He's new to the room. I actually messaged him to come in. He has an app too.
What's his name again? I didn't catch that.
It's ABIYA.
I sent him an invite. I already sent him an invite.
Awesome. Thank you guys for coming
All right, thank
appreciate
you.
it.
Thank you.
And Gigi, if I could, everyone, this is a serious topic, and I know it's touching a lot of us, but Drew was nice enough to come in and share the harsh realities that we experience. So I implore everyone to please share the room. We hit a lot of topics, but this one to me is personal. It's very important, and we all need to be aware. You know, this is about our black men. So everyone, please share up.
Thank you.
Any more questions?
Say your brother's name, Humble. Abaya? What's that his name? Abaya?
Yep, brother Abaya. He's on stage now.
Hi, welcome to the stage. Welcome to the 100 ENT show. Abaya, we appreciate your presence here on stage. If you want to follow the club, there's that little greenhouse all the way at the top where it says right next to the 100 ENT show. Just if you want to follow stage for future topics. We definitely appreciate you coming on stage today to have this conversation from a different view of point. I think it's important. So if you definitely want to go ahead and take over the mic, you most definitely can.
I just want to hear everybody. Like, you ain't got, if it hurts a certain way and you're not like to that point in your life to where you let go and can talk about it without, shedding a tear, You don't have to, but we're not gonna judge you if you do cry, because at the end of the day, we all human and we all got feelings. So I understand everything everybody's went through and gone through, but again, the floor is open.
Drew, you know what I wanted to share that I thought about, and I actually could share with everyone. Mm-hmm. Yesterday, right? I'm looking at this story with Jalen Walker being shot repeatedly. But then also yesterday, or excuse me, on the 4th of July, we look at a parade with a white male that murdered 6 people and injured 20 something and walked away. But Jalen Walker was shot and at least has 60 bodily injuries to succumb to his death. That was amazing to me yesterday to look at the analogy of that. I land my plane.
And with that being said, that's what I mean about a lot of these officers are Army, Marine, Navy SEAL vets. I'm not saying all of them, but majority of them are veterans that have a certain situation of a thing called PTSD, just like me. So if you want to go into law enforcement and you were in any shape or form in the military, you should not be allowed to go, because your brain is went through a crazy situation, and that's gonna judge you raising your fucking gun and shooting this dude. They're gonna say you wasn't right up top. So I feel that there needs to be a deeper depth on interviews and hiring police that are not capable of making the right decision. Because if we see this shit on and on, white cop, bam, bam, white cop, bam, bam. I don't never see black cop killing white kid. I don't never see black cop killing Indian kid. I just see white cop, white knee on a nigga neck, and that's what I see. And it's like, whoa, can y'all sit there and put them through an evaluation? Because if you put them through a thorough evaluation, you're gonna find certain things in their brain are skipping like a CD, bro. Real talk. And they need to do that deeper evaluation, and you'll find out that this person is not capable to sit here and protect and serve our land.
Think I really
isn't that
really
generalizing people that are
I'm sorry, well, I just wanted to see if Abaya wanted to come off the mic really quick and just speak to the stage for a few moments. I appreciate you guys.
Yep.
How y'all doing?
Good,
awesome, brother.
Good.
Right. You know, I didn't catch everything that's been said so far, but I did catch a little bit. And what y'all are talking about, I mean, I agree with the military, the guys who come in law enforcement, and sometimes that has a big issue. It's a big issue, but primarily it's the academy. Like what I do right now, I teach people their basic rights. As my sister said, I got a platform on YouTube, and I drop videos, show tips, ebooks, just trying to get the information out there. Because reason being is when I was in the academy, I did 2 academies. When I was in the academies, like I'm not taught to stand up for your basic rights. I don't even know your basic rights. Believe it or not, 90% of police officers don't truly know the law. We're taught that you ran a red light. Yeah, everybody know that. That's a ticket. Well, he killed somebody. That's murder. The basics. But we don't know anything really outside of that. We don't go over the Constitution. We barely visit that. But I can tell you what we were great at. I was not a shooter until I became an officer. I shoot a perfect 300 every time now. I don't miss my mark. I can hand-to-hand combat with the best. Didn't do that before I became an officer. Why? The point I'm making is that's what was installed. It was drilled in our brains. The public are our enemies. Now, this may sound like a stretch, but I can have several officers vouch for this. So these type of things are ingrained in us, right? Now, you have some officers who can overcome that, but you have a lot of them who just succumb to that teaching. We also had a training one time. We was in the patrol room, and they put this big screen up, and you had a white guy, black guy, Asian guy, all different type of people from different places, and one person's holding a coffee mug, another one's holding a book, another one's holding a cell phone, another one's holding a gun, these different items. And as the lieutenant is talking, that picture's on the screen. It's not telling us that we're gonna have to remember, what's on the screen. Then he just takes the picture down. Say, hey, who was holding the pictures that was behind us? Who was holding the gun? 95, 97% of the room said the black guy. Well, it really wasn't the black guy. It was a white guy. Everybody else was holding just different objects, cups, bags, But everybody in that room said the black guy was holding the gun. Although the guy didn't even have anything that resembled a gun. It just showed, it was like a teaching to show you where your mind already is. So when you step out that car, when you step on, you're on duty, you're already being looked at as an aggressive person, weapon or not, because that's what's going on. Why? We're trained that way, and our personal how we feel and how we see things already adds to that. Somebody said earlier that police are supposed to protect, and this is like the misconception. Police, the Supreme Court ruled, it's two different case laws. Which one is called Deshay versus Winnipeg County, and also Rock versus Gonzalez. The Supreme Court says that the police have no duty to protect the public. That's not what they're here for. They're only here to enforce laws. I kind of don't get the difference, but the law, the court, the highest court in the land says that there is no duty for the police to protect you. So when we're saying that they're here to protect us, that's not even what we're taught in the academy. We're never taught to protect you. And no one talks about this. This is why we're seeing all these different type of things. Now, when somebody like the situation we're talking about now, and I'm gonna land my plane. I'm sorry for taking too long. This young man got shot. We're taught how to get out of those type of situations. Articulation. Know what to write, how to write. Go back and look at your body. Go back and look at your dash cam, so you know how to type to get up out of, and So you're taught. So when people are at home and you're looking at someone shot with no gun, and it's clearly murder, but you hear not guilty, everybody was crazy, but nobody really knows what's going on. It's the articulation part of it. They did a study on which officer would shoot you first. Officer with a master's degree, bachelor's degree, or associate's degree, or a high school diploma. Well, officer with a master's degree, by far was the first to shoot. He was always the first to shoot. Reason being, according to how they conducted the study and what they got from it, was this particular type of officer, he's smart. He's looking for these type of things. Because the way the law is written, the law has certain gaps in it. I know when I can shoot. I know if you moved at a certain angle too fast and I didn't see your hands, I can shoot and then I can articulate my way out of it. So therefore, when I shot you, although you didn't have a gun, well, when we break down the law gave me that leeway. I articulated it, matched it with my camera, and then I got not guilty. But to the general public, you're just looking like, that's murder. How the hell did he get off? But these are like the little things that are going on. These are things that people don't know. Case law, what's being taught in the academies, the mindset behind policing. It's a really dirty mindset. I was real naive when I went in. I'm finna make a change. It's how some of us go in, naive, until you actually start seeing the harsh reality. You start seeing this harsh reality. I locked a guy up on a bad warrant that wasn't supposed to be in jail. I was trying to get him out of jail. I thought I was gonna lose my job that night, because how many police officers are calling the judge trying to get a guy out of jail? I went over my lieutenant's head because my thought was, I wouldn't want to be sitting in the cell knowing I'm in here on a bad warrant. We know for a fact this guy's on the end on a bad warrant. And so that was actually the beginning of the downfall of my policing career. It started taking a curve then. The point is this: don't ever think that policing is here for protection. That's not the case. We have case law saying that policing is not here for your protection. The academies don't teach us to protect. That's not it. Let's enforce that red light. Let's enforce this. Let's enforce that. He broke that. Let's go get this. Let's go get that. That case, Castle Rock versus Gonzalez. This woman, she was trying to sue the police for failing to protect her from her husband, who had a restraining order. He ends up abducting and killing 3 of her children.
the Supreme Court ruled what she tried to sue, you know, they ruled that they had no obligation to protect her. These people are dead. This was in 2005. The Supreme Court ruled this. So it's like, it's certain things just out there that we're just not privy. Well, we are privy to, but we're just not aware of. And once we start becoming aware of this stuff, it makes more sense. And then we can kind of figure out what's going on and start taking a better stance to it. I'm gonna land right there.
Hey, let me ask you this question real quick, brother, because this is the first time I've ever heard that the police was not there to protect and serve. So why do they let that narrative like just stay out in the public? You were the first person on that side I've ever heard say that it's not in the books that they are there to protect and serve, that they are there to enforce law. So
it's
why,
on their badges.
It's on their badges.
So why is it, you know what I'm saying? Why is that
on the vehicle?
Why is that left out for the public to believe that they are there to protect and serve if they only there to enforce law?
That's policy. It's not
That's
law.
a fact,
Caddy. They're not there to really protect and serve. It's all about protecting.
So your policy basically is to fuck with us at every step, at every traffic light, every wrong turn signal that we didn't turn on. But the person, like you said, that kidnapped them kids and killed them kids is okay to get away.
But yeah, I wanted to see if he could. I just needed an answer on why would the police, right? And why would y'all leave that narrative or have the people believe that you guys are actually going to protect and serve? That's crazy.
So here's the thing. If y'all can write this down, 1989. Shay is spelled, well, I'm probably pronouncing the name wrong. DESHANEY versus Winnebago County. That was in 1989. 2005 it was Castle Rock versus Gunners. Read the case law, read what the Supreme Court said. There is no obligation for police to protect and serve. Now, the protecting and serving on the cars that you see, that's all policy. That's, hey, we're going to be one with our community. That's a cover. That's what that is.
Advertising.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Exactly. It's advertising.
Crazy, man.
Hey, can I ask a question?
I think this is where, if I could cut in really quickly, I think this is where it comes in, where we're talking about federal executive orders. That's what he's referring to. Those measurements to get things in play to cover protections for Black and brown folks. You know, that's what we were talking about, the George Floyd Justice and Policing Act. Am I correct in saying that? Those would have to be federal guidelines.
I mean, you're right, you know, and I think the easiest way to say it is somebody said it. It's just false advertising for us. There's different levels, you know. On your level,
it's like brainwashing a little bit as well.
You know, here's what I tell everybody.
One mic. Let him answer the question. One mic. Go ahead, sir.
Here's the most important part. Here's what we got to do. And this is what I'm trying to teach people to do every single day. Like I've turned this into my career to teach people, because once I learned this stuff, like I learned more about law. This is how it happened. When I got out of the academy, I got stuck with an asshole training officer. Couldn't stand the dude, right? So instead of asking him questions, I didn't want to ask him any questions. I just started reading up. If I had a question, I would read the law. And I started learning more. I'm like, what? They didn't teach me this in the academy. So over the process of the time I was there, once I got out of policing, I learned more about law than I've ever learned. That's where we have to be. Everybody here, you got to start learning what's going on, because realistically, you're not going to hear this everywhere. Like the brother said, I ain't never heard that before. But we have case law to verify what I'm saying is 100% true. Nobody's going to tell you.
I definitely don't think you're lying, brother. That's why I just said it's crazy that this is the first time I'm only hearing that. And I just feel like if, like you saying now, about if the public is aware of this, then we know how to come at it a different way, right? Then more people start learning about law, more people start being on point about case law, right? Because we already understand that we're not being protected, that the laws are just being enforced. So that means we have to do our homework and know certain laws when we move around, you know, out in the world.
Exactly. You gotta know. If you've ever been stopped by a police officer just on a regular traffic stop, 75% chance, 80% chance your rights violated right then and there. Most of us think to be violated by the police, you gotta be snatched out of the car, shot, or beat up. That is not true. If a police officer stops you for, I don't know, window tints, and you sit on that traffic stop longer than the time that he has to write that ticket or citation, that's a Fourth Amendment rights violation. It's a $100,000 lawsuit you probably left on the side of the road. It's just so much stuff that we don't know. That's Supreme Court ruling, Rodriguez versus United States. I can't keep you on the side of the road longer than it takes me to write that ticket or that warning without probable cause. And the problem is this: don't think every police officer is out there trying to purposely violate you, or even sometimes purposely hurt you. Here's the most dangerous part about it. Remember, I told y'all we weren't taught this in the academy. A lot of police officers rather, think what they are doing is legal. When I came out of the academy, I thought if I said stop, you had to stop. I thought if I said go, you had to go. I thought since I was a police officer, my word was a lawful order, and it's not. They don't teach you that. Most of the public think, hey, if he says this, I got to do it. No, like if I walked up to one of you brothers and say, hey, give me your ID, would you give it to me?
Fuck no.
No, as a police, yes, of course you would. I mean,
why?
You got to tell me why you asked for my fucking ID.
He just said, you just said why. Right now, we talking about your brothers being shot down for nothing, and all the aggressive behavior that the police have in the hood. Dudes are gonna pull out their ID. Come on, bro. Let's be
realistic. Articulable suspicion for them to ID you unless you're in a stop and ID state.
But Will, this is the whole thing, though. This is why we talking about the case law. A lot of brothers don't know, like, you know what I mean. So it's a fear factor. People are moving on fear. Police ask for the ID, they're gonna whip it out. That's real. That's real.
That's true, brother. But check this out. It's a way to do everything. Now we do know we live in a world where if you have a little darker complexion, you got to move slightly different because it's just saying a move. Even on the department as an officer, I had to move slightly different. I couldn't do the same thing everybody else did, right? That's just a fact. Whether people want to debate it or not, it's the way it is. If I come up to you and I say, hey, give me your ID, somebody, I don't know who said it, somebody said, without reasonable articulable suspicion, which means, and not only reasonable articulable suspicion, that means I must have a suspicion that is reasonable, that I can articulate that you are committing a crime. I must think that you're breaking in somebody's house, stealing a car, shots, something has to have happened for me to request your ID. If I don't have that, I have no legal right or authority to get your ID. But yet, I'm a black man. I don't want to get shot. How do I go about dealing with this situation? Because I know you can't just make me give it to you. But how do I deal with it? Only thing you do, you educate yourself. Now, here's the thing. You ask me for my ID, I'm gonna tell you, hey, do you have RAS, reasonable articulable suspicion? And if he don't have it, but yet he wants to get aggressive, yeah, go ahead and give it to him. Don't risk your life over a driver's license. You give it to him, but just know right then and there, if you know your rights, you know what to do at that point forward right there. You've just been violated. You don't have to get beat up, shot, drugged around the street to take him in that courtroom and sue the hell out of him. You pull your phone out, you record. For whatever reason, a lot of our people just don't record. And I teach everybody, when you get stopped, now even with us, when we get stopped, they start seeing those cameras coming out and they start asking questions like, hey, do you have reasonable articulable suspicion? Oh, now they're thinking, damn, who the hell is this? Are you an attorney?
Brother, let me ask you something.
Yeah, but you should stop. Okay, so, and I fully understand exactly what you're saying, right? So even when somebody's getting pulled over and it's really the police's word against yours, and I get exactly what you're saying. So like for me, if I was to be stopped and I would pull out my ID, if he asked me, I would just pull it out and I would attack him because I have to play the game. So I'm thinking about my safety than anything else. I'm not trying to go back and forth with the police because I'm trying to be like, oh, well, you taking me on my rights, and then we get aggressive, then I'm hollering, and he trying to grab me and throw me down and handcuff me and saying he feared for his life, want to shoot me. I'm just going to attack the brain.
You don't want to do that. That's one thing I don't teach, because a lot of people do that, especially people who know their rights, and I'm like, no, that's the wrong thing to do. You're not going to be out screaming and yelling. You're just going to simply give him the ID. Hey, do you got reasonable articulable suspicion? You could be handing him the ID, asking the question. You want to comply in everything. So you don't want to be
right. That's what I was saying, right? That's what I was saying. And then I also was saying that I was going to attack the grain. So after, when I've done all of that, I was going to then file a complaint, right? Because then I have the right to file one. So for me, in that situation, I'm going to lead with my safety, because oftentimes we see with aggression leads into something else. So if we know that and we're educated about that, we know that it's their word against ours. Why are we trying to be, go back and forth with them or say, oh, I know my rights and all of this? No. Run him that ID, give him what you need to give him, and then after he do all what he doing, then you fight that shit in court. Then you take it and go against the grain. Then you file a police report. Then you show up and show out. Then you campaign it. Then that's how you do it. You don't
remember to always, no, you don't. Remember, you want to always record. When people who say, two things when you say to the police that they're going to just think you just full of shit. I'm going to call my attorney. I know my rights. Nobody believe that no more. I'm assuming you, bro, you just got, not to diss anybody, but I'm telling you the way the officer's going to think. No disrespect to anybody. Oh, I'm going to sue the hell out of you. You just got off the bus. You got retainer money. I doubt it. He's not going to be scared of that, right?
First person I thought about was Sandra Bland.
Right. You really want to not be, fighting back and forth. What I teach is on the side of the road is not the place to fight. Your fight is in the courtroom. The sister just said it perfectly. I'm gonna be compliant. Here's ID. Well, whip out that phone as well. That way you're taking away his word versus mine. I have evidence, video evidence, and I have plenty of students, black men, black women, who have went to this level and they have won in court. So no, you want to pull that phone out. People be like, I know my rights. When I was officer, when I was really getting into like, hey man, something ain't right about it. Since I'm learning, when somebody would say that to me, I was that officer that be like, really? What are your rights? And they'd be shocked. I just stand there because I want to hear what you're going to say. I want to see if you really know your rights. And I always use that as we could call those teachable moments. So when they don't know what's going on, I would use that. Hey, go look this law up. Go look that up. Of course, be doing that, being on the force, it wasn't always smiled upon, I say. But you got to know what's going on.
What about in a situation where you describe the traffic stop, right? And the police will say, oh, you got anything in the car I need to know about? You say no. Oh, can I search? No, right? Well, you got something to hide? No. Well, I'm going to call the dog. If the dog hits, then I'm going to search.
That's violating your constitutional rights.
Automatically, right?
It depends. It could be a violation.
If he had that reasonable suspicion, then he wouldn't need the dog. He'd be able to search, correct?
Not all the time. So here's the thing. All right, I'm gonna go with your example. You say you were stopped on a traffic stop. He said he's gonna call a dog. It'll be a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. For one, the courts are already ruled, Rodriguez versus the United States. If he only can use that time to write a ticket or a citation. If you have to wait for a dog to show up, that is a violation of constitutional rights. Now remember this, when you're pulled over or stopped or detained by the police, that is a seizure of your person. You have just been seized. The courts will only allow you to be seized for a reasonable amount of time for the business of that stop to be conducted. After that, it must be probable cause. So, hey, let me search your car. First thing you want to do is, I don't answer questions. I'm invoke my Fifth Amendment right. Don't even say no. Can I search your car? Sir, I don't answer questions. Or if you're going to say anything, I don't consent to any searches, nor do I answer questions. And you leave it at that. He can repeat the question many times. I don't consent to searches. I don't answer questions. If he make you wait there for the dog, when the dog get there, like I said, don't fight him. Side of the road's not your fight. Just be recording. If he make you get out, get out. Because they do have legal authority to make you get out of the car. Just get out. You record. What you're going to have on the recording is, I don't consent and I don't answer questions.
I have a question.
You know what? You're right about that recording.
I have a.
Let me say this real quick. I seen departments that literally train it. This is what they do systematically.
I don't mean to cut you off. Let the lady speak. Y'all just cut her off. Where y'all cut her off? Let the lady speak.
Thank you. I appreciate that. This is Nisi Pie. Sir, I do not know how to say your name and I want to be respectful. Can you repeat it, please? Because it's the questions towards you.
Abaya.
Abaya, perfect. Abaya, my question to you is this. because I grew up with a lot of family members that I would say term jailhouse attorneys. I think everybody on the floor knows what that means. So I think it's a case of chess versus checkers. I mean, if you look at this case right here, I mean, the first thing that comes to my mind is the fact that we aren't clear. We only know after the experience. So it's like, when you look at this gentleman that has 60 wounds for death, he knew to put his gun off of him. He knew to put his gun in the seat. But they knew that if he just even turned or even looked a certain way, that they could shoot. And that's why I thought this topic is so important, because that's, to me, the bottom line. And one of the most important things that you share is being able to be clear on the rights in your area. I'll let play.
Right. And what you said was something very key. They know if you make a certain turn. Remember what I was saying about those officers? They did the studies of who would shoot first. Those are those officers. A lot of officers are going to be like, okay, the law says, okay, if I can't see your hands, if you make this move and after I've warned you, they're looking for things like that. And so if you turn a certain way, you reach a certain way, the courts are going to understand that an officer is not going to wait for you to bring your hand back out, get shot, then to return fire. He's going to shoot first, and they're going to justify that. So that's what they're playing off of. Well, and they're going to play off of that. Well, he turned back. I don't know. Well, he reached here. I didn't know. And that's why a lot of times they get off. We had a case they showed us. We're in a patrol room, and it's a brother. He's running, and he has no shirt, just a pair of shorts, and he's running. And it's a natural motion for your hands to go back and forth as you run. They shot, I can't remember how many times they shot him, but they shot him several times in the back. And their justification was when he pulled his hand back, it looked like he was going for a gun. So they presented the question to us. Was this a good shoot or bad shoot? What they mean by that was it legal or not legal? 100%, almost 100% of this patrol room, good shoot. Black and white. I was the only person I'm like, hell no, it's a bad shoot. And we're going back and forth. And this conversation carried all the way into the big room as we was getting ready to go to our patrol cars. They were on one side of the room, and I was on the other side. I was the only person standing there. It was like I had that feeling like it's me versus y'all. That's when I really realized this ain't my career. I can't do this, because I can't stand by and continue to watch them. Although it hadn't happened in my particular department, my wife can tell you this. From the day I went into law enforcement, my sergeant can tell you this because he had the same thing. From the day I went into law enforcement, I told my wife, I'm not going to be that brother to stand by and watch something happen to one of my people. If it happens, you're going to have to carry the bills for a minute because I'm going to get arrested. Because if I see it, something like the George Floyd situation, I still can't understand how people stood around and watched this to this day. So my point in saying all that is they're looking for those things. You have those people who have that type of mentality where they're going to look for you to make the wrong move. They want your hand to go back in just the right position. So now when they get in court, they're going to put those little small snips and freeze frames. Do you see where his hand is? How is the officer in that position at that time in the heat of the moment going to realize he wasn't going for a gun? This is why you have to learn what to do. It's a way to move. It's what to say, and it's how to say it. That's what I'm teaching to people right now. Because everything I've seen inside the department, the things that I've heard, I've seen the football huddles. Yeah, let's go make some arrests. I've heard a white sergeant, and when I was working in Hillsborough County and down in Tampa, I heard a white sergeant told the whole room he wanted to be the first one to get a confirmed kill in the hood. To a room full of minorities, he didn't give a damn. And so when I voiced up, obviously I got pinged for the hot head, and I didn't stay there too long. But these are the mindsets of people, and these are the things they're looking for. But if we're not going to educate ourselves, it's kind of like we're helping them. You know what I mean? We got to learn what to do, what not to do in these case laws. Again, I'm going to use that first two I gave y'all for example. When people were saying protect and serve, hardly nobody knows that police don't have to protect you. False advertising is a beautiful way to say it. A lot of this is false advertising. But it's not going to become false advertising until it's not going to stop being falsely advertised until everybody start educating themselves.
Can I say this real quick?
Hey, really quick. I know that a lot of you guys have questions, but I just want to keep an order. I don't know there was a lot of people talking, but can we just try to keep some type of an order for the questions, because he is here. providing this feedback. He is not charging us, you know what I'm saying? So let's just be a little bit patient with him. Again, I want to shout out his sister Humble, who shouted him out and brought him to the stage to go ahead and educate us in this topic, right? So let's just go ahead and just keep the stage a little bit more in order, and whoever's next to go ahead, the following person, go along with it, okay? And share the room, ping up, yeah.
Yeah, so like I was saying, I don't think anything's going to change until the police start holding each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? Like, the police don't hold each other accountable. Like, it's not like we don't know that y'all know who the fuck nigga is on the squad, but at the same time, you allow him to load that gun up and get in that squad car and hit them streets. You know what I mean? It's like none of y'all get on the stand and testify against that dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, y'all help him falsify the paperwork. You see what I'm saying? And then got the nerve to criticize us because we don't snitch. But y'all got the whole blue wall or blue brotherhood, whatever the hell that shit is. You know what I'm saying? So until the police start holding each other accountable for their actions, nothing's going to change. You know, just like the brother said, they see us as the enemy. And you know, it's hard to say there's good cops out here because the good cops allow them bad cops to continue to do fuck shit.
Okay.
And I land. Go ahead.
Let me just clear up a couple of statements, if I could. I just want to say this for the room. You're saying, what y'all do. I'm talking to you right now because I'm that officer you just said didn't exist. And I got all records to prove it, right? I'm that officer who did say, hey, this is what happened. What we gonna do about it? I'm that officer who put my job on the line. I thought I was getting fired. I was gonna pay my bills the next day. I knew I was getting fired, trying to get somebody out of jail. I was the one calling the judge 2:00 in the morning. Don't know if the judge finna go to the chief. Don't know what's going on. Just scared, because I'm thinking I'm out of a job now. Calling my wife, I don't know how it's gonna go. But I knew I wouldn't want to sit in a jail cell. So I have situations where I'm that officer you say don't exist. But here's the flip side of that. You do have situations like that where officers do say something. Now, got to realize a lot of times they not just, I wouldn't in fear of my life or nothing like that. But there's officers out there who try and step up, and then what happens is they are in fear of their life. They are receiving death threats. They do get fired. I can't remember the sister's name. I think she was in Maryland somewhere. After a 15-year battle, she finally got her pension. 15 years, her been fighting, and she got fired for pulling off another officer off and reporting him. She got fired. I even have a story that I covered on my channel. Buffalo. Where, was it Buffalo? Okay, Buffalo. And I have a story on my channel where another officer stopped another officer from doing something, and she, ostracized, kicked out, fired, death threats, everything else. Now, what happens in these type of situations? Fox News ain't gonna cover that. They're not gonna cover that. CNN is not gonna cover that. The community is not gonna come out and rally the same way they would in a different situation. So we are led to believe, again, just like we were led to believe that the police here protect and serve, we're also led to believe that these officers don't exist. You guys never, there might be a small percentage, but they're there. And the community don't hear about it, so it's not happening. But that's not the case, because if it was true, you wouldn't be talking to me today.
Well, right? Can I just rebuttal real quick? It is the case because you are in fear of losing your job. You see what I'm saying? I'm not talking about, like one or two. I'm talking about the police force as a whole needs to be reformed, because, whatever this blue wall of silence is the reason why you in fear of losing your job, is the reason why it took that lady 15 years to get her pension, is because, they're trying to cover up all the wrongdoings at the end.
I can agree with that. That portion, yeah, I agree with that. But like I said earlier, it may be a small percentage, but it does happen. We gotta realize it. Police reform, do I believe it? I don't believe it's gonna happen. I think it's gonna get worse, honestly. And I say that a lot of times.
I agree with you.
It's gonna get worse.
I agree with you.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, because you gotta realize now policing is a lot of police don't quit. A lot of police left the force. The forces they are so thin right now. My former department is thin. Man, they hiring everybody. It don't matter. They're hiring everybody. And with hiring everybody, trying to push people through an academy that already don't teach anything, you're coming out even worse. We're just trying to fill slots. That's going to make the whole situation worse. But with that being said, how do you get past
didn't they stop the college? Like they used to have to do 2 years of college. I think they stopped that, right?
It depends on the department, but yeah, a lot of departments had that and they cut that out. Some of them, like myself, like when I first started, you had to work in the jail first. Why? You had to learn how to talk to people. You ain't got no gun. You ain't got nothing. You got 72 inmates who in there for all different type of, reasons. You can't just talk in the type of way. You gotta know how to conduct yourself. You gotta be a man. Ain't no shooting in here, right? So once you learn how to do that, now you can go to the street. Those officers that I know who worked in the jail first, who learned how to deal with people, were better officers. Except those who, now mind you, here's one thing to always remember. Police are going to police according to their life experience. And what I mean by that is this. When I was on the department, we had several officers still living at home with mom and daddy. And if anybody here live at home, that's not a shot or a diss. But the point I'm trying to make is they never had any life experiences. They can pull you over and, finna tow your car and you ain't got a dime to get the car back and you gotta be to work tomorrow. You're gonna get fired. Your bill's gonna get evicted. They don't care. They've never dealt with that. They never did that. When I started policing, we moved to Georgia and we didn't know. We had a setback on the move. We didn't know about the whole taxes and switching over the percentage of the car to get your tag registered. As a police officer, I rode on an expired tag for almost close to a year. My wife was just over a year. We ain't had no tags. I guess we was riding dirty, as you would say, right? For that reason, knowing that struggle, I never pulled anybody over for expired tag. I'd be the biggest hypocrite riding around. I never did it. The reason I'm pointing that out is because I know how it can be. I know how, all right, if I pull you for this expired tag and then you can't pay for it, and then it just goes one step further and another step further, and then you in a big hole that you can't get out. I wasn't that guy, Now, not to bring any religion into it, but I believe in the Most High God. I believe in He watching everything I do. Every time I went to work, I prayed to Him, help me deal righteously with your people, right? Because I believe in all type of stuff, like what people call karma, right? I'm in a perfect position if something was to happen, like, it come back around on me. I didn't want that life. I wasn't that guy in the patrol room saying, hey, man, let's go arrest somebody. I was the one trying to go to the parking lot when there ain't nothing going on and watch Netflix. That's paperwork for what? If it ain't that serious, if I arrested you, hell, you did something. You know what I mean? I just want to go to work and do 12, come home. You know what I mean? So, but that ain't everybody's mindset. And in knowing that's not everybody's mindset, you gotta educate yourself. It's so much that people don't know. And I'm trying to get as much as I can. Sometimes it becomes overwhelming because it's like, wow, it's a lot of people and it's a lot of stuff to know. And not only is it a lot of stuff to know, you have to know how to, like the sister said earlier, not only knowing the stuff and just screaming back and forth with them, you got to know how to conduct yourself while you're standing on your rights, especially as a Black man or a Black woman. And it's for anybody, but especially as a Black man and Black woman. So it's just a lot of stuff. Police reform, not going to happen. So since it's not going to happen, you need to know what you got to do next.
No, absolutely. A lot of the stuff you said was everything that I told my son. My son's 19. He has a car. He's on the road. So the first thing I'm telling him is like, the first thing you do is not act tough with the police who pull you over. You have insurance. You have a valid driver's license. Your tags are up to date. Give them the paperwork. If we got to fight that ticket, we'll fight that ticket in court. Don't fight it on the side of the road because you're going to lose.
Right.
I can second that if I may, cigar law. Can y'all hear me?
Yes.
Yep. All right, so I'm also in Georgia, and I'm law enforcement now. And going back to what he was saying about the some of the recruits, I guess you can call them. Some of where I'm at, located in South Georgia, they straight out of high school, and they going in, and you talking about another race going into these communities where it's 85% Black, probably 7% Hispanic, and the rest is white. And most of the whites stay out in the counties. But the city limits are majority Black, but you got one Black officer maybe, and I was one of them at one time. One Black officer and the rest of them white in a 85% Black small town. And these guys, straight out of high school, living, like you said, living with their mothers and fathers, don't know nothing about how to talk to the people in these communities, how to, don't even know the slang, don't know they use these academy terminologies, and it's almost insulting to the community, black community around here. And once they see me come on the scene, they feel better because they say, I can talk to him. Let me talk to this guy right here, because you don't understand what's going on because they haven't been there. They haven't seen it. And first of all, you 18 years old, you ain't lived to see shit. You ain't. I got into law enforcement at 35 because of all the stuff that was going on with police killing blacks. So I said, I'm gonna learn this shit. I'm gonna get in this thing. I'm gonna learn everything I can. I'm gonna give it right back to my people and in the community. So I work right now as a law enforcement detective in a community that I grew up in, and it's like 90% black. But I can get out my car, sit on the porch with these people. They bring me food on 4th of July, like last night. I mean, it's get out the car, come on. Like, that's how it is in this community. And I can't say I kind of built that, but I don't want to take the credit for it. But this is when I was at the other department, the parents pull their kids away from the police car when they pull up, just driving through. Now, shoot, the kids run into this vehicle. I gotta have a basketball for them, a football or something, because I gotta give them something. They looking for something, you know what I'm saying? And the parents let them go. They let them. They trust me to be in this community around their kids, and they know I'm not the first thing. My first thing is not to take you to jail for one. You said something about the registration. Like I'll be on Interstate 75, and I pull somebody over for going 80. For going I passed the going past the super speed, and I'll depends on how they talk to me on that traffic stop. It depends if I pull that thing down to under that super speeder, so there won't be no points to be added to the license and stuff like that. Because I know I've got like 13 tickets in my whole life, so I know how it feels. I don't want anybody to go.
That's crazy. That's crazy. He telling you that firsthand right now.
Oh, he on the job. You hear the background? He on the
job. Yep. I'm on the job right now, man. But I had to join it. I'm new to this whole clubhouse, but I've been following 100 ENT and a few other houses, man. But this particular subject, I said, man, I'm just waiting my turn and see if I can say something. But I dig what y'all are saying. But you got a lot of these guys like that blue wall bull crap. Yeah, it's real. It's definitely real. But I'm highly educated for one, and they know they can't talk to me any type of way. And I got people, you know what I'm saying? I got people outside of law enforcement that can handle some stuff if it needs to go down that way. Lawyers and stuff like so on and so forth. You know what I'm saying? Street people too, because like I said, ain't nobody gonna let nobody do nothing to me in this community right here. If they see me fighting, they'll come help me. I guarantee it.
Exactly.
That's how it is.
Cigar Law, let me ask you a quick question. When you were in academy, you said you went in at 35. When you were in, do you know more? Now, it's a natural process to learn as you go, but there are some things you should have been taught in the academy. Do you ever look back and be like, we never learned this? Like, for example, something very basic, public property, because a lot of people get arrested. Easement. They never taught about easements, public property, none of this. Right. You violating people's rights left and right. Never teach you about that.
Right. A lot of things they teach. I mean, it's only 11 weeks. You have the state trooper. The state trooper is in the academy for damn near 6 months. Right. Straight up 6 months. And the majority all they do is pretty much traffic stops and accidents. But yet we're police officers in the academy 11 to 12 weeks. And we missing so much, but we have to deal with everything. That is so backwards to me. Like, I don't understand it. Like, you mean to tell me 11, 12 weeks gonna get us to be familiar with what we're walking ourselves into, knowing these situations, how to deal with all these situations in 11, 12 weeks, but you got the state troopers in there 6 months. I mean, I just think it's all backwards. And the stuff that they teach us, they say, protect yourself, stay vigilant, try not to get hyper vigilant. I say, man, listen, I grew up in the hood. I've always been hyper vigilant. I mean, I was taught that. So me going to the academy, it was like, okay, yeah, that's the terminology for that. I just learned different terminology on what I already knew, based on. And I always tell people I'm a human being first, so I'm gonna treat you like you my neighbor. Damn this police uniform, but I mean, I got a job still, but Damn the uniform, damn the badge. Talk to me. Let's resolve this shit right here so we don't have to go to jail and go through all that right there. And you can go home with your family and all that good stuff. If you got domestic, hey, let's